Hello, everybody. I am back for some more. Before I start, since my return, I've had a bunch of people writing and encouraging me and commenting on my videos to continue. So, I appreciate that. Part of the reason that I left was just family got in the way, and by family, I mean, my kids were getting older. I was running out of money because I was saving up and I bought a house. And, you know, things got weird. And then for a while, when I was sort of settled, I decided to buy a bunch of guitars. So the records were put on the back burner, and so did the videos to accompany them, even though I was still buying stuff. And then, yeah. Since I've sort of been making videos back again, I've been watching videos as well, and it's just, it's a reminder of how we all fuel each other's addiction for vinyl, addiction for music, however you want to put it, because I have a bunch of CDs I buy too, but we all fuel each other's addiction here on the vinyl community, because I watch a video and somebody shows something and I go, oh, whoa, what's that? And that little tingling, the little hairs raise up on the back of my neck, and I go, something I didn't fucking know about, something I need, something that now I have to check out and put on the list. And it's very exciting. And I forgot about that. So, thank you to all. And let's dive into what I got. First off the bat, got this in yesterday. Krakow Plant Cube, great Norwegian band. This is off of Ruined Gramophone. They are, I guess you call them a jazz rock band. It's usually a trio. You have a saxophone, drums, and guitar. And they play this heavy jazz rock that is kind of, I would say, like it's played with a punk energy, like a punk attitude. It's not punk, but just the way that it's played, it's just sort of very heavy, very energetic, very thrust out there. So it has that punk attitude, but it's this great jazz rock with just an amazing guitarist who, every time he does a solo, I'm just like, whoa, what the hell is that? And for this album, they've added 2 new musicians on it, so they now have a bit more of an expanded sound with the addition of keyboards and a bass player. And I think it's probably, I've only listened to it once, but from that first listen, I think it's probably my favorite album from them so far. So they just keep getting better. So I'm always looking forward to new material from them. Mike Patton and Jean-Claude Venier, I don't know how you want to pronounce it. He's French. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it improperly. This is a cool album. Can you see the cover embossed with that little bit of a, I don't know if it's coming through, but with the reflective material. Very monotone, very cool packaging. And colored vinyl as well, I should say, which matches, very matches the rest of the look of the album. This is a cool collaboration between one of my favorite vocalists and a guy I never fucking heard of. But hey, that's one of the beautiful things about music. You find out, you learn new things. It ranges everywhere from, musically I should say, it ranges everywhere from sort of like a bluesy lounge music feel to a bit more almost film or production orchestrated music to sort of just, I guess you'd call it like a chamber music feel to it. And Mike Patton vocally, who's from Faith No More, famously, also from Mr. Bungle and Fantomas and a bungaload of other things. He does everything from spoken word to his very sort of screechy thing going on to more of that melodic mid-range. He's got a big vocal range. To most of the album, he's doing his sort of basso, deep voice thing to it. And again, everything from spoken word to sort of melodic vocals. And some of the album is actually kind of just funny. Like the title track, Corpse Flower. He's just talking about different cuts of meat. Whatever. And a couple tracks on here, because it is composed by a French man, have accordion on it. And accordion, I have a secret love for accordion. I don't know why. It's just one of those instruments to me that just sound right. There's a couple of them, like electric piano, like a Fender Rhodes or a Wurlitzer. They just sound right to me. A bass clarinet, oh, I love it. It just sounds right to me. And for some reason, accordion, it just sounds right to me. I mean, who the hell thinks of it? Oh, let's have this, blower that we can have going through valves that we're going to play like, a piano. Who thinks of that? But to my ear, I love it. 2 essential Herbie Hancocks. I went on a Craigslist dig, if you could believe that, to a guy who's just about 10 minutes from where I live, very close. And I went into his apartment and dug through a whole bunch of records, probably 200-300 records, and didn't really find very much because it was either stuff I already had or stuff I wasn't interested in. But I did find 2 early presses, I should call them, Herbie Hancock's Maiden Voyage, probably his most famous or well-known album. This is a 66 press. It is a first press one for Liberty. So it's about as close as you can get to a first press. But still, early Hancock in this good condition, hard to come by. Hard to come by. And the other is a first press from 69 with the Liberty label, of course. The Prisoner. 2 essential Herbie Hancocks that I needed and I was quite pleased to find. Had to pay a little bit for them, but not too bad, I should say. This is a guilty pleasure record for me. From every aspect, a guilty pleasure record that when I play it, brings me back to my childhood. Korn, The Nothing. This album is fabulous. Sadly, to get all of these emotions out of the group, it had to take the singer's wife to pass away. My sympathies, I feel for you, really do. But I am glad you were able to harness some of those emotions and put them into a really good album. Korn is one of those bands that when I was in middle school in the late mid-90s, I discovered, and it really expanded my musical horizons. And for a while, it was like all I wanted was the harder the music, the better. And Korn was at the forefront of that, being the new metal. I love new metal. Can't help myself. But this album is kind of a return to form for them. I know the last few albums was, I don't know, I didn't really pay attention to them. And I sort of fell out of them after Untouchables, which I don't know when it came out. It was like 2002 or 3 or something. I know I was in high school. But this album is a bit of a return to form for them. Getting back to the heavy stuff, getting back to things that to me sound very familiar. Fieldy's bass sounds like Fieldy. Monkey and Head's guitar sounds like Monkey and Head's guitar. Jonathan Davis, I mean, he sounds great. He sounds exactly the same way he did, 25 years ago. So this album, it was just, you drop the needle on it, and the very first song, what do you hear? A damn bagpipe, and I'm like, yes! It was like, ugh! So, a guilty pleasure record for me. I can go on and on. I really enjoy this. It is just heavy when it needs to be heavy. It's melodic when it needs to be melodic. The one criticism I could give, and I have noticed this about a lot of, shall we call them modern records, is the drumming doesn't sound right to me. And it's not a reflection of the drummer. They have a different drummer from way back in the day. But it's just the way that the drums are, I don't know how they're edited in or how they're recorded, or I don't know if they're like cutting frequencies on it or something, but it's like they just sound muted to me. I'm so used to that sort of 90s and 2000s sound to when it comes to a rock album or an alternative album or grunge album, however you want to put it, or a new metal album. where the drums were just right in the mix, and they were played hard, and they were tuned, most of the time pretty high. And when you would listen to them, I mean, when there was a crash or there was a smack on the snare or a rim shot or whatever, I mean, everything sounded very natural. Everything sounded very, I mean, you could almost hear the space that it was played in, because you would hear sort of a snap afterwards of everything, almost a natural reverb or echo, and then they mixed that in, and it was this beautiful sound, and it's throughout a whole gangaload of albums. So I don't know if it's the way that it's being recorded now, drums, or if it's, like I said, in the mix, or if they're maybe cutting frequencies. This is a perfect example of a song on this album. I can't remember which one, but he's doing, the drummer is doing this tom ride. And the whole time I'm thinking to myself, man, I mean, he should be riding the hi-hat, riding the hi-hat with his foot as he's banging on the toms, playing this, rhythmic section. And I mean, I'm sort of mentally, I'm looking for it, but it's not there. And then as the music sort of dies down, as he finishes, you hear that little at the end. So he was, in fact, playing it, but it somehow in the mix got lost. So I don't know. Maybe you guys can comment, because I've talked way too long about this. Comment, make me know about your thoughts. Is this something that you've noticed? Or am I just crazy and it's just me? It's not just this album. It's a lot of modern albums for me, where the drums they sound muted. They don't sound right. They sound way far back in the mix. They should be up front. Let me know your thoughts. Moving on. A first issue press, I should say, on vinyl for Acid Mother's Temple's first record, simply entitled Acid Mother's Temple and the Melting Paraiso UFO. UFO standing for Underground Freakout. This is very exciting for me. I love Acid Mother's Temple. Can't get enough of them. I have, everything you could think of that they pressed on vinyl, I got from them, aside from a couple things. And this is a great packaging, I should say. I don't know if it's coming through, but it's got that nice gloss cover, very tactile. You could feel where it was like printed on. Oh, I love it. And it's thick cardboard with the tip on, with a pasted sheet. Very old school with I don't know if that's going to come through, but a printed inner sleeves as well. Just black wax, though, I should say. But nonetheless, really, really damn good, presentation musically. So I was happy, very happy when I got it, and I looked at it. I was like, wow, this is beautiful. Musically, it's a little rough. Being their first recordings, they were a little rough. There's nothing I could say about that, but that's not anything to do with the pressings. James Blood Ulmer, Are You Glad to Be in America? Very happy to pick this one up. Picked this one up on a family trip in Massachusetts, actually. It is an Italian press, believe it or not. But James Blood Ulmer is one of my favorite jazz guitarists. He has a very unique way of playing, where it's sort of this angular, free sound to it, but still kind of almost like a little heavy and rocky. It's hard for me to describe. But when he plays, I know it's him. I mean, everybody who knows him is going to know James Blood Ulmer is playing that guitar. He has his own thing he's doing. And, this one was filling a big hole in my collection. I've been wanting this one for a while, for his early material, I should say. I think it's his second or third album, and I've needed it for a while, so very happy to pick that up. Rollins Band, Hard Volume from 90, I believe. This is a second of two albums came out, I think the same year, 1990, where they were live albums, the other one being a double album. This one is a single. But man, it's one of those bands I wish I could have seen live. One of the best bands of the 90s, in my opinion. And hearing them play, that just, wow, the energy, man. Oof, the energy, I love it. Love it. Ohm, Adriatic Songs. Ohm is, of course, if you don't know, stoner rock, but played with a very, very heavy dose of spirituality to them. Almost, dare I say, just meditation music. You just play it, and it's just like, oh man, you just drift away with it. It carries you away. featuring the bass player and the drummer from Sleep, after Sleep dissolved. And I mean, what can I say? I love it. I mean, I've been wanting this one for a while, and I've sort of like, oh, I'll wait to find it, because if I find it out in the wild, it'll be cheaper. Sure enough, I did find it in the wild, and it was cheaper than buying it online. And the same can be said about this album, Acid Mother's Temple. The Mothers of Invention! Freak Out, the first LP with the cool insert still in there. And a beautiful copy. I mean, look how clean this cover is. Have you ever, I've never seen one where it wasn't just huge ringware. So to find, I mean, and I'm pretty sure this is the first press. Or not the first press, a very early press. So to find one in such good condition, I was really just like, wow, this is great. And I mean, you know, another one of those albums that I needed, and I've just held off because I knew if I found it somewhere out in the wild, it would be cheaper than if I ordered it online. And I found a beautiful copy. I was very happy. And some more Mothers, Absolutely Free. I believe this is their second album, maybe the third. Can't really recall. But I mean, early Frank Zappa stuff is it's pretty wild. The recording quality is it's a bit iffy sometimes. You know, he got a lot better with the recordings as his career, you should say, expanded or continued. But too early, you know, too early Mothers that I needed on Verve, early presses. I mean, I couldn't be happy with that. I love Frank Zappa. I have a childhood love of Frank Zappa because I used to play his old records, or I should say, I used to play my dad's old Zappa records. So it's one of those things that just, if I see it and I don't have it, I pick it up. Another guilty pleasure record for me. We Are Not Your Kind, Slipknot. Oh, this is a great album. Oh, man. I mean, I sort of said it with the Korn record. Guilty pleasure record for me. When I was younger, in middle school, you know, it was sort of, new metal was raging, and I just fell in love with it. It was a time period in my life where the heavier the music was, the better it was. I just wanted the heavy stuff. I was ignoring a lot of other music, and I just wanted the heavy stuff. Because before that, I mean, I was just entangled with grunge. And I fell in love with all of that 90s alternative. And I still have that love. But it was just, I needed heavy. And Korn, you know, Slipknot, Deftones, Soulfly. Oh, man, they filled the heavy meter for me. So I was very excited when I found out about the new record coming out. I ignored the last couple of records, but I was sampling this one before I ordered it. And, I mean, wow. I mean, it's great. It's Slipknot. What can I say? They just sound like Slipknot. Is it new? Is it earth-shattering? Is it anything different? No. But it sounds like Slipknot. And that's why I like it. So, you know what I mean? And it's weird to think that, I mean, as much as since I've really been getting into music and really collecting vinyl in the last, I guess, 9-10 years at this point, it's just as my musical tastes and knowledge and explorations have expanded into, you know, jazz, which I fucking love. I just find myself, no matter what I'm doing, always craving and always wanting heavy music, because I just grew up with it. It's ingrained in me. That's what I like. So I can't help it. 2 guilty pleasure albums, fucking love them. And speaking of exploratory music, 2 Øresund Space collectives, Slip into the Vortex. And Øresund Space Collective meets BMC. BMC, I can't remember what it stands for. You'll forgive me. Freak Out in the Fjord. Øresund Space Collective is a revolving door of musicians that get together in the studio, improvise, jam, and then release material. I mean, and it's all like mind-shatteringly good. This album's cool because it is a trifold. Oh, look at that. Not something you see very much nowadays. Normally, if it's a 3 LP set, they just put it in a big, thick-ass cover or something like that. So, all long tracks. This is a 3-album set, but there's only 4 songs. So the last 2 discs, side D, or side C, D, and E and F, the last 2 discs are just one song. They're like 55-minute long songs. Just cover the whole thing. So this is music that you put it on. It usually covers an entire disc, or a half of a disc, 20-30 minute long songs, sometimes longer, and you just it carries you away. You just get into it. Sometimes the songs will be very sort of melodic and synthesizer keyboard driven. Other times it's a bit more rocky hard with guitars driving the song going forward, with solid band that just these guys just, it blows my mind sometimes, because they just get together and they just start playing, and you're thinking to yourself, it has to be rehearsed, because it's too cohesive, it's too right, but it apparently not. They just get together, they jam, and they edit it, I'm sure, slicing things around, and it comes out to me as some of the best damn space rock you could find. So Øresund Space Collective, check them out if you haven't already. I've talked about them multiple times. I pick up anything I can by them. So yeah, thank you all for joining me again, and as always, till next time.